Okay, maybe you decided that you are ready to move to the Tampa area. Let's talk about how to make the move work. Here we go. I'm Sam, welcome to the Living in Tampa channel, where every single week we make videos about what it's like to live and move to the Tampa, Florida area. If that's something you want to follow along with, don't forget to subscribe down below. I'm also a licensed realtor in the state of Florida, so if you have any real estate specific questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. My phone number and email are right there on the screen and down below in the description. So I have people reach out to me every single week. Multiple people, and they often ask the same question and we come to the same conclusion. They ask, how should I move? Like, what should I do next? Which steps should I take first? And the way that I want to explain an option for this is to actually just tell you what I did. So right now it's August 31st, 2021, and I moved to the Tampa area on June 1st of 2020. So a little more than a year ago. I moved from Colorado and I had lived in Colorado for 10 years. I owned a house in Colorado and I was moving with my wife and daughter. The reason we moved to the Tampa area is a mixture of a lot of things, just like you, but our main driver in choosing this area was family. We do have some family in the area. A lot of my wife's family lives in the area, so that made the choice pretty easy for us. We were kind of able to narrow in on this area. Now, maybe that is why you're choosing the area. Maybe you have family or friends here. Maybe you have a job here or a potential job here. Maybe you just want the mixture of the city and the water and some of these factors. Or a lot of people actually want to move to Florida because of the political climate. People maybe want to live in a state like Florida in the midst of everything that's going on. But the first thing that you're going to have to do when you're deciding to move is actually just choose a spot. So maybe you're choosing Tampa. You're saying, all right, we're gonna move to Tampa. Let's start this exploration. And the next step is actually just exploring some areas, whether that starts online or in person, actually seeing what you could find if you can't afford to buy or rent in these areas and how far they would be from potential work spots for you. So this kind of search was anchored to family for us. So since a lot of my wife's family lives in Tarpon Springs, right here on the map, we were kind of looking at the surrounding areas. And there's a lot of little towns around here that we really like. But this brings me to the main point that I actually get to with a lot of people that call me. We lived in a short-term rental when we first moved here. So think of like an Airbnb or a rental that's just for a few months until we bought a house. So we moved here in June and we didn't actually close on our house until September 9th. So we've been in our house almost a year at this point, but we spent that time from June to September in a different house. And this house was furnished and ready to move into. There was nothing we needed to do except for find a place to put all of our stuff. And little kind of pro tip, local tip, for short-term rentals in Florida, or in a hot area, prices go down a lot during the hotter season, so during the summer. And then during the winter, the cooler season, prices go up a lot. And when you search on sites like Airbnb, if you put your search dates for like months at a time, say if you search for two to 3 months instead of searching for just like a weekend, it'll give you a monthly price, which is typically lower than the nightly price combined for the month. So I sent my wife and daughter down. They flew down and were picked up by family. They went to this house to stay in it, and I drove all of our stuff from Colorado. I drove a big moving truck with a car behind it from Colorado to Florida. It took about 3 days, and I found some places to stay with family and friends through the drive. Once we got our stuff here, we rented a storage unit, and we kind of lucked out because when I showed up at the storage facility, the one that I had reserved wasn't available, so they had to upgrade me to one that was 2 times bigger and was air conditioned, which made it so much easier to fit stuff in there and to even just go get stuff whenever we needed it. I really enjoyed having our stuff in a storage unit because we could get to stuff if we really wanted it. And this kind of gave us a sense of normalcy in the midst of this move. If, even if it's just some random thing that we really want to go find, we could go to the storage unit and search for it and kind of make a little treasure hunt out of it. One reason that I often recommend this route for most people, like the short-term rental route, is because once you get here, you might still be searching for a job, and it's pretty hard to get a long-term rental or to buy a house without a job. And I was kind of in this limbo myself. I was transitioning from a W-2 job to being self-employed, and this complicated the situation even further. I was getting my real estate license, I was starting to market my business, and I was starting to grow it in ways that I wanted to, but that all takes time, and I needed that time, and that was important time to grow it in the way that I wanted to. But a lot of you may be thinking that you're going to move here and then find a job or find a different job, and that's a great option. I think there are jobs to be found, but it's very difficult to get a long-term rental or to buy a house without consistent income that qualifies you. Sometimes rentals will allow it if you have like 6 months of rent in your savings account, and you can show that and can show some kind of evidence of your qualifications for a job that you're searching for. And a lot of the rental industry down here is privatized, so oftentimes you're actually searching on your own for those rentals. You're talking to landlords or property managers yourself. That isn't really managed by realtors in the Tampa area. Because it's so privatized and because you are often searching online from out of state, you're unfamiliar with things, there has been an increase or a constant influx of scamming that takes place. Someone kind of pretends that a house is for lease. They, send you all the information. They get you to go ahead and pay a deposit or something like that. Because you're moving here, they're taking advantage of your rush to get a place as you move here. And I had someone call me recently. He moved here and thought he had his rental all ready and found out it wasn't available at all. The person never called him back. And he showed up at the house and a realtor was there, like actually listing it for sale, and it was never available for rent. And that is so sad. So be very careful in the midst of that. Don't send money like a deposit or first month's rent before you see a place and before you have someone in the area go check it out for you and meet someone face to face. So going back to what to do with your stuff, the storage unit was a good option for us, but I have a lot of clients and friends who have used like pods or something similar where you pack all your stuff in a little container and then they ship it to the area that you're moving. And if you're gonna live in an Airbnb for a while or a short-term rental, they can hold it for a monthly fee, and then you just arrange to have it dropped at your house whenever you move into a long-term rental or close on your house. And this route is quite a bit easier, maybe easier, but there are two downsides to it. One, you don't have access to your stuff in the midst of that. And downside number two is it's quite a bit more expensive than storing it yourself. What you're paying for is convenience, and that is sometimes worth it when you're making such a long move. So then once we closed on our house, we had to rent another truck, go to the storage unit, and get all of our stuff out of there and deliver it to our new house. And we had to go back to the short-term rental, get everything out of there and move it and then clean that place. And all that was a bit of a headache, but we really did save a few $1,000s in the midst of that and retained access to our stuff the whole time. So now you know how I made the move. I hope that this is helpful as you start thinking through your move. And I know moving across the country is stressful and overwhelming, and I hope that this helps guide you a little bit. I wish that something like this would have been available whenever I was making the move for myself. If you have questions about making the move to the Tampa area, add them to the comments down below, or please reach out, call or text or email me. And I would love to, as these questions pile up, to do another video that highlights some of the questions that you ask and see where I can add value. Thanks for coming by.